Hey there, Andrea Seidel here. I am the founder of Live Life Happy Publishing and also known as the Book Doula. And I don't know about you, but as a mom, I often found myself questioning myself or wondering, like, am I totally messing up my kids? Or uh, does how do all these other moms do it, like without messing up? Or how do they keep so calm while their kids are freaking out in the grocery line? And let's be honest, sometimes I've looked at other moms and thought, oh my gosh, how are they so put together? And how do they stay so fit and still manage to smile through it all? And so I know that it's very common for us as moms to question ourselves. We might carry some guilt and shame or even comparison, especially when we feel like we don't have it all figured out. That's why I'm so excited to introduce you today to an amazing guest that we're going to have on the show, a new author. She is real, she's raw, she's hilarious, and she's so refreshing. Luca Shaked is the author of 99 Mistakes I Made as a Mom and What I Wish I Knew. And she's here to remind us that we're not alone in all of this, that it's okay to make mistakes, and that motherhood is more about loving through all the mess of it all. It's more about not about perfection at all. And so without further ado, welcome to the show, Luca. Thank you so much for being here.
Wow, Andrea, thank you so much. What an introduction. Thank you. Wow, wow, wow. Now I have to, I have to deliver.
Well, you are so special, and the book that you have written is so unique in so many ways. Can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write this book and what gave you that amazing idea for the title?
Thank you so much. So, exactly what you just said, I was like being a young mom myself. I'm a mom of twins, and I just felt that everyone around me has it figured out. And I was just doing mistake after mistake and, wondering how it will turn out to, to my kids, how will they grow up? How will they be? And this is when I got the idea, I got the idea like 5 years ago. And I understood that, you can make a lot of mistakes and still have an amazing relationship with your kids. And this is what happened with me because I wrote like it's 99 mistakes I made as a mom, but it's only the 99. I probably made another at least, 99 more. So I think that this was it just came out from moments of of being down, of doubting your myself, or thinking that I'm not a good enough mom, thinking that I'm not perfect as the other moms, comparing myself to the other moms. So yeah, it was very easy to for me to get inspiration from my real life.
And I love this. And I remember you sharing with me when you first started writing your book about your friend coming up to you and saying, "You've only made 99 mistakes."
You're a
Like it's
great
not,
mom.
yeah.
Exactly. This you only made you're a great mom. You're fine. And other people like, how did you think of 99 mistakes? I was like this was the one that made the final list. I have another list of more. And now my kids, are preteens, so I'm pretty sure that I will add up to the list. And yeah, yeah.
And,
Another
and
volume two is coming.
and then maybe another edition for teens, moms of teens.
Exactly.
So what I love about your book, there's so many things I love about your book, but one of my favorite aspects of the book is that you're sharing your own vulnerability and you share your stories, but then you also weave in a lot of scientific research, and your education, your training, your profession is all in positive psychology and happiness studies. And I love that your book adds this humanness to your book, and that you add so much in terms of, well, here's what the science says, and then you offer just a loving, compassionate perspective on the so-called, like, the mistake that you're talking about. So I love that you weave in this personal vulnerability from your experience, but then you also have this educational piece and this wisdom that you
Thank
bring
you.
into it. It's just so good. So those are my favorite. I also love the mantras. You leave us with mantras
With
after
the mantra.
every
So
single mistake. So what's your
yeah,
favorite part about your book?
So I think exactly what you just said. I think that the fact that it's so structured, it was easy for me to write, easy, as in we're going back and forward. But I think the fact that, I knew I have like the mistake, then I have a quote that inspired me. Then my story, my personal story, and then, what does the research say about that? Meaning, there is some studies on you're not the only one doing that. There have been some people there actually studying the phenomenon, can I say? After that, I'm explaining, how to avoid the mistake, sorry, how to your turn to reflect. So it's the turn for the mom to actually think about it and to, look deeper, think deeper, and it's like a workbook and it's like a journal. And then at the end, you have a little mantra there. So I think this was my, if I could say, like the favorite part, that it's just like it's very well structured. So it was easier for me to, as I was the first time writer, it was easier for me to kind of know where I'm starting and where I'm ending. I didn't think, I started writing my mistakes one here and there, like a journal, and I ended up writing 415 pages. So but it's easy to read, so it's fun to read.
Oh, you're so right. It's such a beautiful book. And I love that you could just close your eyes and fan through it and pick any and like you'll land on something like here's I just flipped through it and picked a random one. This one is I hid my tears instead of honoring theirs. That is so beautiful. And yeah, so how to avoid this mistake, like about it, your story, your turn to reflect, and then the mantra, it's okay to cry. My children are safe with their feelings. I am safe with mine. Oh, see, like it's so beautiful. And so yeah, it is a big book. There's so much in it. But you're right, you can read it as you go in bite size and so I'm wondering if you could go back and just whisper one thing to yourself as a new mom, what would it be?
Wow. Probably that it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
It sounds cheesy, but it's true that nobody has it figured out. Nobody knows it all. And, trust your instincts. Many, you're going to find many people and many professionals explaining to you how they know everything and how they got the secret for happiness. But at the end of the day, it's your mother instinct. And, it's 99.9, if not 100%, it's true. And it always, just do whatever you feel and listen less to the others and listen more to yourself.
Oh, I love that. Yes, trusting that motherly instinct in each of the moments, right? Instead of comparison and so you talk a lot about self-compassion in your book. So why do you think that so many moms struggle with being kind to themselves?
Again, because I think that they're all looking, in the age of social media, a lot of people they're looking and comparing themselves. I have a whole chapter about comparison. So I compared myself with other moms. I compare my kids with other kids. I compared the kids between them because it's also very easy. And I compare my husband with the other husband, with other husbands, with the other. I only have one husband. Good to mention, right? So I think that in the era of everybody has exactly how you said, they all have it figured out. It's very easy for to be harsh on yourself, to feel that you're not doing enough and you are not enough and you have to be perfect. And you put yourself also on the last place because you want to give everything to your kids. You want your kids to be happy. You want the family to be happy, but then you can easily get to burnout. And I think that we were also not taught enough how to give ourselves some self-compassion, self-care, how to prioritize ourselves. Does it
So
make sense?
true. Yeah, and it's amazing, right? How we put so much pressure on ourselves as moms and I love your book just gives us such a permission to be human. It's like giving us a permission slip to not be perfect and so I'm curious for you, what was one of the hardest chapters or stories for you to write and why was it the hardest?
Definitely the chapter, not the mistake about emotions, was draining. Like when I finished, I think I wrote it in a time of, in a period of a week. And I remember ending the week, and I was just, completely tired, like emotionally probably tired. And the reason was because I was like, thinking, going back to those moments and writing down stories about emotions. So I think you mentioned permission to be human. I think for me was a very one of the concepts in positive psychology that made a huge impact on my life because I was the perfect person, the also like not only mom, but like I was perfect as putting, wiping, or how do you say, putting the emotions and the things under the rug. I was just doing that, and pretending it didn't happen. And so I was perfect at that. And when I realized that, there are no positive and negative emotions, there are only happy, like pleasurable emotions and painful emotions. And we have to accept all the emotions and we have to feel all the emotions. So I think for me, definitely that was the chapter that was really, kind of like before and after. It was very hard for me to write it. Yeah, and I think there were, here and there a lot of stories that I forgot. But I think this is one of the most, at least the first one that came to my mind.
Yeah. I can't wait to reread it, knowing that. And yeah, it's so common for us to put a brave face on and sweep our emotions under the carpet. But eventually, all that carpet's gonna bulge, right? So it's so nice, and it's like it builds that pressure. And so that's nice to hear that even for you, like writing about that is challenging. And if someone is also being struggling to share their emotions or to let themselves be vulnerable, your vulnerability can help them in so many ways. So that's just amazing. Okay, so I'm wondering, can you share one of your mistakes that is so hilarious to you? Like your book, there's so many moments where I like was laughing out loud. And I'm like, oh my God, I so did that. Or like I so found myself in your stories. And so,
Wait, I
yes,
have the book here. I have the book here, and I have, okay, sorry, what was the question? If I could
One
share one
one
of the
one that
mistakes?
just makes you laugh. Like it's just funny to you and it just, I know you have so many mistakes and it might be hard to just pull up one because
Yeah,
there
yeah,
are
yeah.
so many.
I do have something in my mind when you said that.
Yeah.
It's mistake number 8. I put pressure on myself to be perfect. So perfection is not a prerequisite for love. It has never been. Brené Brown. So I try to be perfect, and that put too much pressure on myself and automatically on my kids. I built in my mind the image of the perfect mother, the 1960s mom, beautiful, serious, and always home early. The kind who wore polka dot headbands and cooked perfect dinners. Now, I don't know how to cook, yeah? And more important, that those dinners, she made a flawless breakfast like in the meal commercials. I also forgot to mention that I worked in the fashion industry for over 10 years. And yes, many times I had to play the role of a mom. You can imagine that after 10 years, it's hard to walk away from that mindset. In commercials, everything must be perfect, visually pleasing, and fit neatly into the image. The kids must be impeccably dressed, with girls in immaculated white dresses, featuring cute frills, and boys with their hair neatly combed to one side. The table should be loaded with healthy, appetizing and delicious food.
Appetizing. Yeah. Yeah.
Appetizing, yeah. Also, the kids smile at the camera, at mom, at dad, nodding. They approve and they radiate lifelong love. In real life, kids fight over who gets to sit next to dad and who gets to sit next to mom. A true story inspired by my life. Also, the clean, perfect clothes end up in covered in tomato sauce,
Yes.
also in my life. And also those loving looks are replaced by a bored face saying, Mom, I'm bored. And I should also mention that while you can say a lot of things about me, serious and domestic goddess are not on that list. No, I don't know how to cook, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. And after all, nobody's perfect, right? So, back to the point, I'm the total opposite of the image that I created in my mind over the years. I have my strengths, like my sense of humor, passion, and modesty. Kidding, of course, but serious and cooking, definitely not my strong suits. So, yeah, this was the first thing, but yeah, kind of like imagining something and getting completely the opposite in my, not completely the opposite, but far, far away from that meal commercial where with the kids in white dresses, listening to every word and nodding and so yeah, this is one of the one of the things. I also get a lot asked what was my biggest mistake, and yeah, I think it's just very hard to choose one because I think it really matters, in like time of the periods. It would be different from a new mom to mom for teens, or so it's yeah, it's very different.
It's hard to isolate just one that stands out, right? But I'm so grateful that you shared a little bit into that one of your mistakes because it shows the listener here and viewer that just what your mistakes are, and it welcomes us into your world, and I love your sense of humor through the whole entire book because it helps us other moms look at it and go, oh my gosh, that's so true and that's hilarious. Yeah, like how often do you put on the cutest dress for your child? And then before you know it, there's like stains on it inevitably. And it's just not perfect. And it brings me to one time I remember just freshly after I had my first. I remember, how you don't go out too much initially, but then you got to go to the doctor's appointment. So I tried to do my hair. I put on a cute blouse and little skirt and and but then by the time I actually got into the doctor's appointment, so the baby needed, my son needed feeding, this and that. He barfed on me. I had the car seat like scuffed up my skirt. And I remember just walking in, and my hair has been a disaster because I had to tie it up because I didn't want the hair to get into him while he was feeding. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like welcome to motherhood. And then I had letdown. That's the other thing. I had letdown. So I had two, and I didn't put any breast pads in because I was a new mom, didn't know you had to. So I had two big circles on the front of my blouse.
Oh my God.
And
No
so
wonder that there's like, yeah, another
it's
one
just
here
it's
today.
just so funny. Like you have like it's seeing the humor at the time was just like a shock for me. And I'll tell
At
you,
the time was like at the end of the world.
yeah, exactly. And then so it's just, but now looking back, I can laugh at it. But that's why I love your book because you share all those funny stories. Like you can't make this stuff up. And it's like, but here's the reality of the situation. And here is a mindset and a compassionate way that you can look at it. And here's a wonderful kind of a reframe of what could be really challenging circumstances and situations. So thanks for sharing that. I love that story, and it's just one of so many in your book.
Thank
So,
you.
okay, so I'm curious for you as you're writing your book, like what healing and growth did you experience or did you notice unfolded as you were writing your book?
I think that definitely while I was writing everything was that, I was making the mistakes, but then I knew how to repair them. And I know that like I did it, but then I was just, I know how to actually kind of like repair for them and heal them. And also understood that mistakes are part of our growth, and it's time to redefine mistakes because fail to learn or fail to learn or learn to fail. So I think it was very much the whole writing was therapeutic. For me, it was very everything was I was remind like you asked me what was something that was difficult or before. Um, I remember that one of my daughters thought that a nanny was their mom. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah. So yeah, I was trying to figure it out myself. Yeah, anyway, going back to your question, I think that the whole process of writing the book and the whole process of talking about it was very helpful. And also, I think that the biggest compliment was that when I got the book out, and one of my daughters told me, "I think this is like wrong. I don't think you ever did. You have never made any mistake with us, you know." And I was like,
Oh,
she did that.
I love that.
So you
Mom, you
think
didn't
this
make
is
any mistakes. And here, us moms are thinking we're doing such a terrible job
exactly
sometimes.
yeah, yeah, you think that you're like a disaster, and at the end of the day, they will love you no matter what, like you just need to show up. You need to like, of course, show them unconditional love, be present, and listen to them, and it's already half of the the job is done. They just want you to be there and to accept it, and not to not to condition them with the all kind of like behaviors or something. So yeah, definitely the whole process was very healing for me and for my family, I would say.
Oh my gosh. And you said something just through that so profound. Learn to fail or fail to learn. And I love the way you put that. You said it so fast, but it's like it's just something to really remarkably like know because if we're not willing to understand, like when we fail, we so-called fail, which really aren't failures because they're opportunities for growth, is what you're saying. There's opportunities for learning. Is like when we so-called fail, if we didn't have those opportunities, then we wouldn't be learning, we wouldn't be growing. And I just think that's so profound how you put that. And it's kind of like, yeah, 99 mistakes I made as a mom, but really these aren't really mistakes. These are just like the mistakes is thinking it was a mistake.
Yeah, I wanted to cut it and to put, instead of mistakes, to cut it and to say 99 lessons, but I
Oh,
kept the dramatic title.
yes, to pull in all the moms that need it. I love it. So, what would you say to a mom that's listening right now who maybe feel like they're failing or feeling overwhelmed?
Ooh, that's a hard one. What would I tell to myself? Um, just smile and the world will smile back to you. I think that, just take a break, go somewhere where you can be yourself, only with yourself, and take a few breaths, think about it, and realize how lucky you are, because at the end of the day, not everybody has like the gift of being a mom. So I think we should be very grateful for our role, and I think that it's the best job in the world. Because at the end of the day, imagine you're like teaching little people there about the world, and you're shaping their. I think it's the best job in the world. And I was talking to a friend the other week, and she told me that her whole struggle was about that after she gave birth, she thought that being a mom is not enough. And she got to burnout because she started to, like, she went back to work. She was doing all this stuff because she wanted to do all this stuff, and she, of course, she lost herself. So my message would be, you are enough, you are doing enough. Just, be there, be yourself, be present, and it's more than enough. I'm making a bit.
I love that. What a beautiful message. And you bring up this role, like this is how privileged are we to have this role of being a mom. And so that's kind of what I love about your book too, is that it isn't just about motherhood. It's about identity. It's about more than that. It's like it's what you discover about yourself while you're playing the role of a mom.
Yeah.
And so I do find that your book is about this, like, so what did you discover, like, as you're writing the book is less about motherhood and more about like identity and like reframing and taking good care of yourself and also recognizing like when you need to step away from the mom role and get back to you. And so I do love that you bring all that into your book as well.
So thank you, first of all. Second of all, yes, I discovered that, it's like you're being a mom, but it actually affects all your aspect of your lives. So I don't know if you remember, I have one of the mistakes at the beginning is like I thought my life will stay the same, will be the same. And actually, I was during my MBA when I got pregnant, and I went back to school after 3 months. I was traveling in the first year, like kind of 4 or 5 long flights, to the States, and I went all full gas on. And I'm not saying that it was not right. This is what I felt like doing back then, but take your time and be there. But going back to your question, I just want to say, so it did affect the way that I like my identity as a woman. It affected my couple, and yes, it affected my whole family and my priorities and my friends. But yeah, definitely my identity. So I discovered that this is why the book also is like divided in 10 parts, and each one of them has like different subjects. Was because it is about different things, and it was about different parts. Um, does it? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's
Did I answer your question?
yeah, and you like so it's amazing that it's not just about motherhood. It's about self-care. Like and like you said, you have all these different sections in your book and different parts rather that support all of that. Like, like sleep. You talk about the myths of the perfect mom. You talk about siblings, even. You talk about emotions. You talk about repair, regret, and real growth. And you talk about love in marriage. You talk about overparenting, underparenting, and everything in between, everyday chaos and emotional misfires. I love the way you put that. And just comparison in general, the inner world of motherhood, the inner workings. You really do touch on everything, not just motherhood. So it's not a how-to motherhood book. It's really about our identity and so much more than just motherhood, which I love. And I just thank you for explaining that out, and that you discover that as you were writing it. And I know because you used to have you had all these mistakes, but then you realize, oh, these are all in categories kind of. So it really unfolded beautifully.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so we know Live Life Happy Publishing is all about celebrating books that change lives and the authors behind them. I'm curious, how does your book help people live life happy?
Ooh, we're gonna see, we're gonna find out. I hope it will
Yeah.
reach many, many people. Um, I think, wow, that's a hard question. How will, okay, tell me again, sorry, I lost
Yeah,
my concentration.
what's your wish? I'll restate it. What's your wish of how it's going to help people live life happy? Your book, how it's going to have this impact? What impact do you hope it will create?
I hope that people that will read the book will understand that we have to live authentically. We have to, listen to our needs and do what we need in order to be happy and to be fulfilled, to feel good about themselves. And I think that motherhood is not something, against it. I think motherhood is part of like all this pie of happiness, and I think it can definitely help you thrive and other people thrive.
I love that. So, your book is available today. If you are listening to this today or watching it today, Luca's book is available for sale everywhere you purchase your books. Her book is available for you. And I really do encourage you, you are going to love this book. You're going to want to get your hands on a copy of it. And I would love to just leave you with the last word, Luca. But I first want to encourage everyone to write a review, purchase the book, write an honest review. And I always say my sticky note that I put on top of a book is like there's so many nuggets of wisdom in these books, especially yours. And I always think of what's one sticky note that I would put on top of this book that reminds me when I haven't touched it for a little bit and what's inside it. And so the sticky note that I put on your book is that every so-called mistake is a moment of growth, love, and real life parenting. So Luca reminds us that perfection isn't the goal, but presence is. So be kind to yourself. I channel your energy, Luca, and I picture you saying, be kind to yourself, mama. Like you're telling me, come on, mom, you're a mom, be kind to yourself. And so that would be my sticky note that I would put on your book to represent the feeling and the message that I get behind your book. And so I just want to turn it back to you. I'm so grateful for you being on the show and for producing such a beautiful book, 99 Mistakes I Made as a Mom and What I Wish I Knew by Luca Shaked. And I would love for you to just give us one last thought, one last message for the listener.
Oh my God, oh my God. I have many messages, but I think that I just want to really give a thank you to you because exactly a year ago, this book was just an idea. And we had the call exactly last year in January 2025, right? And it was an idea that I carried with me, more than 5 years, and I did nothing about it. And I think that a lot of people have a lot of ideas, not only about books. Actually, I have some statistics that around 80% of people dream of writing a book. At the end, only around 15% they actually start writing the book. Around 8% actually finish, and 1% or even fewer they actually publish. So this is the same thing. This was like my idea. I wouldn't have done it without you, and you know that. It was ups and downs and rewriting and rereading and reproofs and everything in between. But the book is available, and here it is. So, are you crying, Andrea?
You're so sweet. This is why I do what I do, honestly, because I always joke that if someone says, I have a dream of writing a book, I say, be careful what you wish for, because if you come to me, I'm going to make it happen. So,
I remember that.
and so just you saying that just touches my heart, and I'm so grateful. And the thing is that inside me, I'm like going, oh my gosh, like so many people need this book, and you are just a remarkable human to share your vulnerability and your wisdom and package it into such a beautiful book that will have a huge impact on so many parents.
Amen.
Aw. Well, thank
Thank
you so
you.
much, Luca, and thanks for being here and being on the show and writing this book and being brave enough and sharing your message with the world. Yay.
Yay, thank you.